Good morning. It is finally Friday on 2024. Welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett, live streaming on news6.com. I'm Bridgett Ellison. It's good to be with you. We made it, and we're almost to the weekend. And we have some great things coming up for you today. A live interview with a pediatric cardiologist at Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, talking about getting our students ready to participate in sports and some of those exams and things that you need to look out for heart-wise as well to make sure your kids are ready and healthy in their underlying issues. So we'll get a breakdown on all those details. We'll take a look at the 70th anniversary of WKMG with our insider report from our own Crystal Moyer. And now we're getting ready for some good weather. Everybody's really excited about some of this getting out of the forecast. And Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is in the Pinpoint Weather Center with a lot of good news. So,
yes,
people, you'll be popular today as far as, no complaints, hopefully, because,
normally between about, July and September, I never really have just good news. It's always like, it's hot, it's humid, tropical this, tropical that, hurricane this, stay inside, stay cool, stay hydrated. I don't have to say any of that. Yeah. So I'm excited. Not sure. Do you hear that echo?
Yes, it's gone now.
Okay, it's gone now. All right, I just wanted to make sure it's not on my end. All right, let's talk about the nice weather that's going to make you do as well. There's there. Thank you, Bridgett. Yes. The nicest weekend of the summer is here, okay? We were talking about temperatures. Let me move my little mouse. Temperatures are going to be feeling real nice. High will be near 90 today. A little warmer come Saturday and Sunday, but still feeling nice. Low humidity, barely any rain in the forecast. And the nice weather continues even into the evening hours. Pleasant evenings. The question, would you like to dine inside or outside? Maybe choose outside today. It might be the only week we can do that until, of course, we move into the fall season. Overnight lows early Saturday morning will be dipping down into the upper 60s to low 70s. And the reason for it, we got a whole lot of dry air that's filtering in kind of on that western side of Hurricane Ernesto, by the way, which is still a Category 2 hurricane. It's still going to be roughing up our surf. That's really the only impacts we need to be concerned with. But on the flip side, on land, the weather is to be fantastic. Speaking of Hurricane Ernesto, right now still on its way towards the island of Bermuda as a Category 2 storm. On the other side, though, we're going to be dealing with the rough surf because of it. So high risk of rip currents for the next several days. The surf is going to be pretty rough as well. Some breaking waves up to about 6 feet today. And then offshore waters for boaters, we do have a small craft advisory. So for the most part this weekend, if you are going to enjoy the outdoors on the beach, it's going to be a great beach day. It's just not going to be a great day to be in the water. Look at your rain chances for today. When's the last time I showed you a graphic that had a 0%?
Wow.
Right?
It's going to be season for me.
It's going to be so nice. Now, I am going to be holding a 10% chance of rain in the forecast for Brevard, primarily because models have been pretty consistent in bringing in a couple of kind of marine showers overnight tonight and into early Saturday morning. Not a lot, just a little. So that's why we're going to keep it at about a 10%. Look at our highs for today. This is what we are expecting to hit. Max out upper 80s along our beaches, low 90s further inland. We're going to have that nice brisk northeast breeze that's going to keep that breeze in place between about 10 to 15 miles per hour. But the most noticeable time will be those feels-like temperatures, where our feels-like temperatures will only be in the mid 90s. So we're not talking about triple digit heat, which is something we talk about every day during the summer. And then into the overnight, like I was talking about, pleasant evening. Our average low for this time of the year is 74. We're going to be below that pretty much area. We could even dip into those upper 60s across our far inland zones. Our northern neighborhoods could get into that just before sunrise on Saturday morning. So just a really nice setup. And don't forget, we got the Lake Mary Little League. They play their game up there in Pennsylvania later on tonight. The weather there is going to be feeling, a little like a Florida day. They're talking about 70s into the evening, muggy, few stray sprinkles in the forecast. Locally here, that's not the case. It's going to be dry. It's going to be comfortable. And I know you don't see the drastic whip of those rain chance of those temperatures, but again, where it's really noticeable is going to be in that feels like category. So the best way, Bridgett, I compare it to is sometimes it feels like 112, 115, as early as the noon hour when we're doing our newscast at noon. But today it's only going to be feeling like the mid 90s. So we're talking about a 10, 15, almost 20-degree drop in those feels like temperatures that we've been consistently feeling every afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not the actual thermometer that's going to be noticeable. It's going to be the feels like factor in the forecast. The moment you zap out that humidity, already feels nice. You know, that moment where it's
Mm-hmm.
not humid, you get under the shade and you're like, oh, this feels nice.
It's
That's
actually
kind of what we're going to be dealing
survivable.
with this
Mm-hmm.
weekend.
Great.
Exactly.
Looking
Exactly.
forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, thank Candace.
You're welcome.
Well, you know what? Crystal Moyer just over Candace's shoulder there, holding down the traffic helm for Trooper Steve this morning. And, she's a lady of so many talents. And hi, Crystal. Good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for like popping in on us. But there's more too, because we're gonna run your story a little bit later too about the 70th anniversary of News 6. So
Yeah, a lot of people don't know we're celebrating 70 years. Can you believe it? We were actually the first station in Central Florida to start broadcasting news. So very historic. So I'm giving you guys
yes,
a lot of behind the scenes content throughout the year. Let's go ahead and get to traffic here because if you're heading out the door, there's some traffic alerts you need to know about. So heading to our traffic map, here is a crash involving injuries. This one on University Park in Orange County. Now, if you're traveling westbound, along East Colonial Drive towards Lake Pickett Road. 2 lanes are blocked there. So that's going to cause major slowdowns. Right now, we're seeing traffic about 10 miles per hour as you're heading from the Lockwood area inland towards University Park. So just allow plenty of extra time there. In Orange County, I-4 westbound just east of State Road 414, you're going to see a crash there. This one is off to the side, not causing any major delays. FHP is on the scene right now working this wreck. It was a hit and run crash, so there's just one car there off to the right-hand shoulder. You can see FHP still on the scene. So again, if you're in the area of I-4, make sure you move over. Give those troopers plenty of space so they could work this crash safely. In and around Central Florida, we're seeing those normal delays. I-4 heading eastbound. This is near if you're traveling from Kissimmee, Osceola County up towards Orange County, the normal delays that you're going to see there. Heading towards Metro Orlando, not bad. Traffic is moving at speed. If you're in Brevard County, good morning. If you're traveling along the beach line, this is 528 and Innovation Way. Plenty of space to move around. I'm not seeing any delays along I-95, the beach line, even over towards the beaches, looking pretty good on this Friday. And that's what we have for traffic right now.
all righty. And Crystal, for people who don't know about Insider, like there's so much information on Insider that is sort of exclusive, but it's free to sign up. Do you have any little teases for us? We're going to tell people about the contests a little bit later, but do you have like any teases to what you're working on, or maybe like something coming up, or just a little nugget or two?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Insiders is our program that kind of gives you guys a behind the scenes look at everything we do here at News 6. You want that more personal touch when it comes to connecting with our talent, like Bridgett here, like Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. We give you all an opportunity to do that through our Insider program. It is free. So if you head to clickorlando.com/insider, you just sign up with your email and create a password. And that's just so that you're able to comment on these stories and we know who you are. So if you have some time to do that, it just takes a few seconds to sign verify on your email, and you'll have access to a lot of exclusive stories, behind the scenes video. We have contests going on. We just wrapped up 2 contests today. I'll be picking 20 winners to win a $100 grocery store gift card and free delivery. One insider
Ooh.
will win $500. We're also giving away a refrigerator. Today's enter to win a brand new refrigerator, and we're also giving a $100 gift card so that you can stock that fridge. We know a lot of parents out there having a little hard time making ends meet with groceries, especially if you have kids in school. We know those kids can eat. So we
Yes.
want to help you out there. We're also giving away a ticket and meet and greet for a race that's coming up over at the Daytona International Speedway. So you can find it all there at clickorlando.com/insider, and every other week contest coming up. So today, and I don't want to give it away, but we
Okay.
have a little giveaway for the Kennedy Space Center if
Oh.
you'd like to view hours. So
Oh.
stay tuned for that.
Wow. See, it's just always something really good. It's like there's something for everyone. So if it's like you want to go to Daytona, you want the refrigerator, just wait. If there's not something there that you want, there will be. So sign up now, right?
Yeah. And if there is something you want, tell me about it. We have surveys on our insider page. You can always email me. And that's why we did the gift card giveaway, because many of you, our insiders, reached
Yeah.
out and said, we want things
They want
like
the
gift
cash.
cards to help us with groceries. Exactly. So that's what we're doing, giving y'all what you want.
Yes, I love it. Well, it's awesome, and you do, great work, and we really enjoy a lot of the stories that you take us inside of on Insider. So we'll get to that 70th anniversary in a minute. But thanks, Crystal, for an update on all those things.
Awesome. Thanks, Bridgett, and happy
All right.
Friday.
Yes, ma'am. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we do want to get to that interview with Dr. Valencia out at Orlando Health Children's Hospital. We also want to tell you about some of the top stories we're working on right now. Our Mark Lehman is covering the latest in the Susan Lorincz trial out of Marion County. It could go to a jury today. Of course, if you've been following this case, Lorincz is accused of killing A.J. Owens, a neighbor that they had an ongoing dispute. But Mark has the latest on where the case stands today as we head into Friday.
Have you made a decision on your own?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell us what that decision is?
I am not going to testify.
Susan Lorincz choosing not to take the stand as her defense team laid out their case on Thursday. Forensic experts were brought in to pinpoint where Lorincz was when she fired through her front door, killing her neighbor, A.J. Owens.
And I think the trajectory of the projectile through the door is also consistent with her being in front, facing that door.
The defense says Lorincz was standing near the kitchen when she opened fire, saying she did so in self-defense. Owens was pounding on her door after Lorincz had a confrontation with her children.
Her position such that it would be consistent with physical evidence from that laser trajectory, as well as the cartridge casing that was found on the countertop in the kitchen.
As the case is going to the jury, A.J. Owens' mother released a statement overnight saying in part, "I hope that the verdict will reflect the gravity of what has been taken from us, and I pray we can find some peace and begin the healing process as we move forward."
Orlando.com to follow along today with what's happening in court. Some new rules are happening with real estate, if you haven't heard, and it involves how realtors and agents get paid when there are sales. And News 6's Ezzy Castro has more about how this all came about. There was a lawsuit that led up to this. So here's Ezzy with more.
When a buyer's agent seeks a property, does their search for a home buyer, in the past, the MLS service would provide the information of compensation. That is no longer going to be the way that we do business.
A new rule on how real estate agents get paid will go into effect starting tomorrow. The change comes after a lawsuit filed against the National Association of Realtors claimed the association enforced practices that made it more expensive to sell a home.
To me, it's common sense that if we see our communities change, we see policies change, we see legislature change, this is no different. The real estate world works the same way.
Rose Kemp, president of the Orlando Regional Realtor Association, explained that sellers have used money from the home sale to pay a commission fee that gets split between their agent and the buyer's agent. Typically, that fee is around 5 or 6%, though the National Association of Realtors says that number has always been negotiable. So what does this mean for buyers and sellers? Kemp says for some, nothing will change, and if anything, it's more transparency for everyone involved.
There is more documentation when it comes to the transaction, but I think the goodness of all of this is that it'll help buyers understand a little bit better as to how their representation is being compensated.
And we want to get a recap of what's happening in Pennsylvania with the Little League World Series. If you've been paying attention, the Lake Mary All-Stars are headed into Game 2 tonight. And our own Justin Wormuth has been there with the team all week, and he talked to the coach about how they are getting ready to get another win.
The Lake Mary All-Stars had an off day yesterday, and they spent it right here at the complex. They were trading a lot of pins, signing a whole lot of autographs, and enjoying some time with their parents before the big game tonight. It starts at 7 o'clock, And yesterday, I had a chance to catch up with the head coach, Jonathan Anderson.
It's emotional. It's a great environment.
After a nail-biting win in the first round of the Little League World Series, Lake Mary's head coach, Jonathan Anderson, gave his 12-year-olds a break from the bright lights, a day many of them spent with their families.
They haven't seen them for a few days, so we just let them show some love to each other.
And it was much needed. It was tense throughout Wednesday night's 2-1 victory against South Dakota. Unfamiliar territory for a team as loaded as Lake Mary. You know, you cruised through that regional, 35-8, you outscored your opponents. I think it was a good thing that you had a close game like that. Get that out of the way, prove to your boys that, yes, we can win the close ones. What do you say to that?
I agree with that. That's another game, another tight game where we have to battle through it and get things done. And then it proves that we have some powerful pitching that can hold people down. And our defense is great. You saw the plays that we made, right?
One of those plays was made by his son, Chase, the shortstop, laying out for this spectacular play in the first inning. That was a play that not a lot of 12-year-olds can make. What was your reaction to seeing it?
Oh, it was amazing to see, and then to come home, like you said, and to see that it's number 1 on top 10. Dude, that's the coolest thing in the world, right?
But they're now focused on their next opponent, the team from Washington. It'll be their first game playing on Little League's grandest stage.
I think that's going to hurt them a little bit. We've got the first game jitters out. They've been sitting here watching. They've been waiting.
Again, tonight's game starts at 7 o'clock against the team from Washington State. We'll have live coverage throughout the afternoon right here on News 6. For now, reporting in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Justin Wormuth, getting results, News 6.
And we'll be watching. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our live interview with a doctor about getting your kids ready for sports. Hey there, welcome back to Breakfast with Bridgett. You know, we've been talking about back to school all week, and back to school also includes those after school activities like sports. And it's important to be prepared and know what you're getting into and making sure that you're physically fit. And so the two go hand in hand. And today we have Dr. Gerson Valencia from Orlando Health Children's Hospital, Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital. And it's great to have you with us this morning.
Hi, good morning.
And you are a pediatric cardiologist, and so it's all about really taking care of that system when it comes to getting kids ready for sports as well. So this goes beyond just getting just your regular physical, but that's the baseline, right?
Right. So, you know, kids nowadays, now it's starting school year, they go to their pediatricians, their primary care providers to get their pre-participation sports form, and within that there's a specific cardiac screening, right? The whole point of this is just to overall, you know, catch on time or overall decrease the prevalence of sudden cardiac death, which is actually the most common cause for death in young athletes. So it comes with a set of specific questions that are laid out on the form, and then some counties in Florida and some other states will also require an EKG, which is an electrocardiogram. The electrocardiogram is a great tool, but it does not detect, 100% a lot of the things that could predispose you for these sudden cardiac events. So it's very important, for pediatricians to have, conversations about what are the things that to look for, as you start sports, because we do encourage kids to participate in sports. What are the things that they should look for when they're playing, and go through, family history and all the important things that can put them at risk, when they're out there in the field.
And we talked about some of those conditions that can be exposed through those different exams. So what happens if your child does have one of these conditions that may make, it questionable to get involved in the sport?
So yeah, some of the most common things that could be picked up with an EKG would be hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. And there are other things, that could be something that the kid was born with that has not caused any problems throughout their lives, that we do believe they're low risk. So even when you detect a condition that could be at a high risk for sudden cardiac event, it's more of a shared decision. Nowadays we rarely restrict kids from sport participation. Some kids might need to take a medication to decrease that risk. We do a lot of other tests or additional, tests like echocardiograms, stress tests, to risk stratify those kids. But it comes down to more of like a shared decision with the family, the coaches, the student, and see what they really want to do. Because we don't want them to be, just like sitting down and not doing any physical activity throughout the year.
And of course, when it comes to physical activities, emergencies do pop up. And so we see, kids get hurt, whether it's something, you can see like a broken bone or maybe a strained muscle. But you also, will have kids that may pass out and have different types of episodes, maybe related even not to the heart, but to the heat. Can you talk about some of those risks involved with being in these sports, especially in Florida?
Yeah, so I think we've all seen, videos or, of kids just passing out on the field. Sometimes it could be just very benign from being not well hydrated, especially in the Florida heat. But sometimes those events can be more, from having a condition that predisposes them to having a sudden cardiac arrest. So we have, in place requirements for high school students. They need to learn how to provide CPR. They need to learn how to use an AED, or things that they can do to recognize promptly someone that's going through these events. It's not just someone that actually passed out, but it's someone that, could die, and how to, approach that situation. So I think coaches, students, I think that they at least require one hour of a year for, to refresh all of this knowledge. But I think that's one of the most important things that we do nowadays with high schoolers, that they can just recognize promptly these problems.
Well, great information to have. And of course, we hope everyone will, have a safe school year and sports season, and, hopefully not have to come see you for any emergencies.
Yeah, that's for sure. And all of this is done more by, their primary care providers. If, the very few of the kids that get all these sports form filled out or cardiac screening, something that would flag out as abnormal, that's when they would, refer them to us. So not everybody needs to be seen by a pediatric cardiologist, but it's, but we're here to help if there's anything.
All right, wonderful.
They're concerned about.
And it's great to know it doesn't necessarily close the door to them being able to participate too, even if there is something that you need to treat them for. So that's great news. So we appreciate the information, Dr. Valencia. Thanks for being with us, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So like we said, it is the 70th anniversary for our news station, and Crystal has a recap of some of that rich history.
All right, Bob, every time I come into work, right near the employee entrance, I see this contraption here. And I see a big plaque with WDBO. What is this?
Well, this was one of our original transmitters. WKMG went on the air in 1954, in July of 1954. So we're celebrating our 70th anniversary. So this, when we went on the air, it was as WDBO. Some people thought WDBO stood for Way Down by Orlando. It actually, yeah, you know, but it actually stands for our city of license with the Federal Communications Commission. So it stands for Daytona Beach, Orlando. Our call letters have changed a couple times. We were WCPX and then we became WKMG. But the historical significance, we're the oldest television station in Orlando. So we were the first TV station in Orlando, so there's some great historical significance to that.
And there's some radio woven into that as well.
Yes, because WDBO radio went on in the 1920s, and then WDBO television came on in 1954.
I mean, there's a lot of buttons and it's
well,
not a working thing, right?
It's non-operational, but back in the day, all of these were meters for different functions of the transmitter. Our transmitter tower is actually in Christmas, Florida. Out near Bithlo, and but this is like a museum piece, and we keep it here because it's a reminder of our beginnings.
We'll continue celebrating 70 years of WKMG, taking you behind the scenes with old footage and photos. You can check out this timeline of our station, including our very first newscast script, in this article on clickorlando.com/insider. From the WKMG newsroom, Crystal Moyer, Getting Results News 6.
And there you have it. You can also find out more on clickorlando.com. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Breakfast. I'll be back on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you at noon for News 6 at noon. And up next is Trooper Steve on patrol. Take care.